You can actually breed your way to the best pals in 1.0 and you only need 4 pals to begin, which you can easily get before you even hit level 20. That's why today I'm going to show you what I think to be the shortest breeding chain to the best pals in Palworld 1.0. Like you can see here, I already got Renjishi, Adrolon Prime, and virtually all of the best pals in the game that can be combined towards this way. So let's dive right in, and if you find this video useful, a sub to the channel would really help me out. Now this video will be split into 2 parts. In the first part we're going to focus on getting the first 4 pals before level 20 and also making sure we get them with the best possible IVs and also rainbow stats in the mix so we don't waste any time. And in the second part I'm going to show you the breeding formula with the shortest chains possible towards the best results. So the 4 pals that we need for this are Warsect, Dictois, Grintail and Celesdir Terra, all of which we can get by the time we hit level 20. So let's start with the Warsect. We can get it from the Black Marketeer vendor from very early on, right here at the cave close to the Desolate Church. It's a very common occurrence in his inventory, so if you don't see it for some reason, simply reload the game and then come back in. It should refresh his stash and Warsect should appear. Purchase it right away and also buy a bee guard, as we're gonna need this for our breeding farm, of course, to create a lot of cakes. If for some reason you can't get a Warsect this way, what you can do is combine an Helzophir with an Incineram at a breeding farm, which also provides the same results. Helzophir is even more common at the same Black Marketeer vendor, and Incineram can be found at level 10 right here below the Windswept Island Watchtower. A Thug will spawn it, so it's a repeatable farm that you can constantly do every few minutes. Then we're going to grab a level 19 Dictois that is spawned by the Syndicate Cleaner mini-boss at the first drilling site on the side of the map. You can, by the way, completely avoid all of the fight and go straight for the capture if you simply approach the location via this rock on the north side of the base. What you can do in this case is simply get close to it on a flying mount, aggro it, and then what you can do is just go further away and wait for a little bit. Once you come back, you should spot both of them dropped into the water, which makes them easy prey to a quick ball to the face. Besides this, we're also going to grab Grintail, not only for the double egg farming, but also because we need him for some of the strong breeding combos later down the line, as well as Celesdir Terra from the first sanctuary on the side of the map, should be around level 20 as well. It's also part of a later on chain of breeding we're going to be doing. Now, from here, to save on a lot of time and headaches later down the line, we're going to jump into the fishing minigame. This is going to give us a lot of very good IVs early and even access to rainbow passives. So start with the area close to the large skeleton. In the early stages, there are 5 or 6 fishing spots very close by, but you can also make use of the islands on the east coast. And specifically, you're going to want to focus on the slightly sparkly shadows, which will give you alphas, a lot of alpha fuaks, turtles, and pretty much every other early water pal. As you can see, they have excellent IVs right from the get-go, so we can immediately implement the fuak in our chain of breeding. Green shadows will give you access to rainbow passives, which are also very good. And finally, if you can manage to fish the purple aura fish, that's going to be even more guaranteed rainbow passives and even better IVs for now. Another thing you can do to add more rainbow passives in the mix is to create a Yakumo via the Fuak and the Incinerams we just got. And what you can do is basically focus on getting a Yakumo with only 1 or 2 desirable passives. So every time you capture an enemy, yeah, you're going to have a pretty decent chance to transfer some of those to that and then introduce them in the breeding chain. Now, I think it goes without saying that you need to set up a breeding farm for the time being, where we will also use that Grintail basically in the mix to double the eggs we get, at the very least until level 47 when we get access to the vegetable cake, which further doubles that, so we pretty much get quadruple the eggs when we pick them up. But for the time being, you can use regular cakes up until that stage. Which now brings us to the whole breeding chain, and the first one is going to be the lengthiest. Everything else from this point on will be absolutely easy. So first we're going to aim for Yormuntide in 6 easy breeding sets. For that, we're going to start with the Warsect and the Dictois that we got, which will give us Warsect Terra. Then we're going to get the Warsect Terra and combine it with the same Dictois, which will give us Relaxorus. And then we're going to take that Relaxorus and combine it with the Warsect Terra again, which will give us Frostplume. Then on the other side, we're going to get the Dictois and combine it with the Fuak, which will give us Univolt. If you got the Fuak from fishing, it should have high IVs if you got them from the sparkly waters. Then we're going to get that same Univolt and combine it with the Frostplume we got previously, which will give us the Univolt Crest. And then we're going to combine the Warsec Terra with the Univolt Crest, which will give us Yormuntide, literally the second best watering pal before Xiaolong that we can't even breed yet. So now you're pretty much on the right track. From this point on, everything will be a lot simpler. We're going to take that same Yormuntide and combine it with the Green-tail we got at low level, which will give us the Blaze Howl, in case you don't want to farm the level 30 version. With that Blaze Howl, we're now going to take it and combine it with his own mother, Yormuntide, and create Yormuntide Ignis. This is now going to be your best kindling in the game, but not for long. That's because we're going to grab both Yormuntide and the Yormuntide Ignis, and we're going to combine them to get Floracle, another kindling pal to have. But we're going to then use the same Floracle with a Yormuntide Ignis to create Solan, literally the best handiwork in the whole game, so that we don't have to worry about creating Anubises and, others that are, of course, lower quality than it. Now you're going to pretty much have that handled and get access to even higher pals from this point on. In the meantime, however, we're going to use the same Floracle and now combine it with a regular Yormuntide, which will give us Astigon. He's going to pretty much provide 24-hour per day mining, which is literally going to be a godsend. Second best after Aegidron, but you can also max him out and he can pretty much be a full replacer. So he's going to be my full-on miner from this point on. Now, from here, we're going to grab the Yormuntide Ignis once again, and now we're going to breed it with the Warsec Terra, which is going to give us Blazimet, a great damage dealer and also great for mining in case you didn't create any Astigon duplicates. But we're going to then take the Blazimet and combine it with Yormuntide Ignis once again, which is going to give us Renjishi, literally the best kindler in the game, which also has some pretty nice handiwork on top. By this point, you probably realize we've got more inbreeding here than the House of Habsburgs, but you know what, it's still going to be a good chain to create in the shortest amount of time possible. By the way, we're going to take the same Renjishi and combine it with a Floracle, and now we're going to breed an Aedrolon out of it. We're going to transform him into the Ignis version though, so initially what we're going to do is grab the Solan we created previously and breed it with the Green-tail we captured at the early stage, which is going to give us a Suzaku. And with that Suzaku, we're now going to combine it with the Aedrolon, which is going to give us Aedrolon Ignis, literally the best mount in the whole game, and might I say, one of the coolest looking pals in Palworld 1.0. But we're not going to stop here with it. We're going to combine Aedrolon Ignis now with the Floracle we got previously to create Noct, the best transport pal in the whole game, so we don't have to worry about that any longer. We're also going to then take the Yormuntide Ignis once again and combine it with the Renjishi from before, and this is going to give us Ophidia. She's going to be the best planter besides Dandylord, but we cannot breed towards Dandylord as that's a boss we need to capture, so she's going to handle both planting and watering both at the same time. Now, from this point on, we're going to go a little bit further down back onto the chain, so we're going to grab our regular Yormuntide once again and combine it with the Frostplume. This is going to give us Gildane. And then we're going to take that same Gildane and combine it with the Yggdrasil Terra from the early stages, which will give us the regular Celesdir. This is going to be your second best lumbering until we get an even better version, the Noct version later down the line. But what we're going to do is then we're going to take Yormuntide Ignis and now combine it with that Green-tail to create Starion. And then we're going to take that same Starion and combine it with the previously created Celesdir to now get Starion Primo. This is going to be your best gatherer before Jetragon, which we cannot breed towards, unfortunately. You have to capture that at level 70 in the Sunreach Isle. Now, if you also want the Celesdir Noct, unfortunately you have to complete 5 whole steps for it, just because Kitsune Noct is going to be a little bit more difficult to actually get, but let me show you how to do it with this whole setup. We're going to start with Green-tail and Incineram, which will give us the Elizabeth. Then we're going to take that Elizabeth and combine it with the Dictois. This is going to give us Kitsune. We're going to then grab our Yakumo from before, which should have pretty good passives, and combine it with the Noct, which will give us a Nyafia. And then what we're going to do with it is we're going to breed it with the Kitsune to get Kitsune Noct out of both of them. And the only thing remaining here is to combine the Celesdir from before with the new Kitsune Noct, which is going to give us Celesdir Noct, the best lumberer in the whole game. And with the exception of the pals that can only be captured, you pretty much now have the top work suitability pals in the whole game, and you should probably not even be like more than level 50 at this stage, because you pretty much got everything back at the base and you only have to do it on repeat. Now, in addition to this, here are some extra tips to help you out in your journey of breeding the best pals, and of course on the way you will need Braloha for those, well, egg farmings. And by the time you get the Yormuntide, you can combine that with an Incineram and get the Braloha immediately, unless you want to farm the level 30 plus version that also tends to spawn nearby, but it depends on your level of comfort. Now, in case you're lacking a lot of gold at the current time and you really need it to purchase some of these items or even afford those in the first place, what you can do is simply create either a Dumad Guild gold farm or a Terra farm, which is going to be a little bit quicker early on. So we talked about the Dumad Guild method before. What you can do is combine the B-Guard with the Yakumo, and that's going to give you a regular Dumad. And then you can combine that same Dumad with an Eighterdeer Terra to get the Guild version if you're lazy to capture them. From this point on, you just have to breed them with one another, try to get them with Philanthropist, Noble, and also Fine Furs, which is going to let you sell them for much higher and breed them much faster. In addition to this, don't forget that any passive that you apply via the Pal Surgery table will have a chance to get transferred to the offsprings. So the moment you hit level 38, unlock it and use it, you already get some options by default. But you can also purchase some from the arena and also via bounties. So head over to the small settlement, and here you're going to find the bounty master guy. And as you can see, he's going to sell Muscle Head, Burly Body, and a few others that may be useful in exchange of bounty tokens that you're going to get by, as you guessed it, taking down the various bounties across the map. They are repeatable, by the way. The early levels will give only like one bounty, but later on will give you 2 or 3 of those tokens, which you can exchange, especially for Muscle Head in the early stages. But you can then think of like the Artisan and some of the others as well. Meanwhile, for the arena, it's going to be located in the southeastern part of the desert map, and you're going to have to basically beat NPC teams, but you're going to get special tokens here as well, or tickets, which sell even more implants like Serenity, Infinite Stamina, Runner. There are quite a few good ones, even Noble over there, which you will want. So this way, you're pretty much going to have everything in one go. IVs, some good stats, and especially so the endgame pals that will definitely elevate you to the next level. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you have an even shorter breeding farm than the one I currently have. If there's one that's even more optimized, I would love to know it. In the meantime, as always, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and activate the bell button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.